sometimes it makes me feel, wow, is it really true to me? And like I mentioned earlier, sometimes I feel bad about myself when hearing the people talking like this around me. But as you ask me this question, I feel that, sometimes I do some good thing and I succeed in some area of my work, and also in other areas as well, like my personal life.
Yeah. So it's the idea that you're a failure at everything is really wrong. That's not a true statement, right?
I don't think it's a true statement for me, but when I hear people talk like this to me, it makes me feel like I am like what they say.
Yeah. So I get it. So it's really the idea that you're a failure is not true, and you don't really have to believe it to be true. It's just sometimes people say that about you, and then you feel like it's true.
Yes.
Why do you let other people control you like that? I mean, what are they an expert on you? I mean, are they super special or something? Are they like God or something that they know you?
No, but we are working together. Sometimes, like probably something that I am not doing well and they notice, and then they just caught my mistake and then say, okay, you are not doing this well, you are not good, you are not capable, or something like that.
Right.
And this really make me think that, am I like this? Yeah, but I know that actually, they could not control my thought. They don't have the power to do that. But
No.
when I am hearing that, I feel like that.
Yeah, so in a way, you're letting them control you when you don't need to.
Yeah, but I don't know how to do, because when I am hearing this day by day, then it make me think like this.
Okay, good. Do you need to translate or do you want to not so much? He's a great client. I would love to have him as a client.
Yeah, I know, because I sometimes meet my client the same. So I try to use my client skills.
So what I'm doing there, if you're listening, if you can hear me, I'm kind of arguing with him a little bit. Many times when you're doing CBT, you feel like a lawyer. You feel like a lawyer, which is, well, if it's true that you're a failure, isn't it true that you do some things right? And then he goes, yeah, I guess I do some things right. And if he said no to that, if he said, no, I do everything wrong, I would not believe him. I would say, well, you buttoned all your shirt, the buttons are all right, so you were successful with buttoning your shirt. You're like, yeah, I guess I was. I'm like, oh, so you're not always a failure. Did you poop in the toilet this morning or did you poop on the floor? You're like, well, I pooped in the toilet. Well, you're successful at pooping. So you can you play with client, but you're kind of pointing out like your idea that you're a failure at everything is not rational, and that you're overdoing it. And so then you're kind of arguing though. You're kind of arguing with the client a lot. Or I'm saying like, oh, you let other people judge you? Why are they the expert on you? Maybe blah, blah, blah.
Like
so
challenging the thought.
Challenging the thought.
Confronting,
challenging. And my goal is to get him to say, you're right. I'm not being logical. I'm not always a failure. You're right. I'm not always unlovable. You're right. I'm not always inadequate. So I'm kind of getting him to agree with me that he's overdoing it or that he's thinking wrong. And so at the end of the session or something, I say, well, I think a good thing for you to do is this week, I'd like you to write down maybe, whenever you say to yourself, I'm a failure, say to yourself, not all the time. That's all. That's all I want you to do. So whenever you say failure, say not always. Could you do that for me?
Yeah, I will.
That's all I want you to do.
Yeah, thank you.
And if one of your colleagues says you're a failure, I would like you to say, you're not my judge to yourself. That's all. Could you try that this week?
Yeah, I will try this week and I will report to you in the next session.
Okay. So that's what we would do for CBT. So what I'm doing is I'm challenging the thought and then saying, fix your negative thought with a more rational thought, a more balanced thought. I'm not trying to make it positive, but I just have a more balanced thought.
ចឹងបើយើងមើល session គាត់ដែលគាត់បញ្យល់មុនហ្នឹងគឺ demonstration example ឬក៏ឧទាហរណ៍ពី CBT ដែលគោលបំណងទី1គឺកែអាការគិតនឹងចោលយកហ្មងដោយបង្គាគាត់ប្រាប់ថាគាត់មនុស្សបរាជ័យគ្រប់ពេល បន្ទាប់មកឲ្យពូវាគាត់បញ្យល់កែម្ដងបន្តិចឆ្លោះជាមួយអា idea រហូតប៉ុន្តែគោលដៅចុងក្រោយគឺធ្វើម៉េចឲ្យបង្គា agree មួយគាត់ថាគាត់មិនមែន failure ទេហើយឲ្យព្យាយាមធ្វើលំហាត់តិចតួចដើម្បីអាការគិតអត់ប្រយោជន៍នឹងដកចេញនៅក្នុង CBT.
So it's kind of, CBT sometimes can feel like you're arguing a lot, and it can feel like you're kind of confronting a lot, and it's sometimes not a lot of fun, for me anyway. And sometimes it feels a little mean because you're the therapist and you know more than the client does about mental health, and you're always going to win the argument because you're smart. And I feel like sometimes that's not fair. The client's like, all right, you're right, I'm not fair. So let me show you what ACT sounds like. So do the same thing in the beginning, and I'll show you what ACT looks like. Okay? So the beginning part.
Really nice to meet you again. Still, I practice some of the exercise, and I know also when I hear people saying I am a failure, I know that I am not always fail, but...
Oh, wait, no. Go back to pretend like you never met me before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, go back to like first time. You have the same problem, so start at the very number one, yeah.
I thought you already now change another approach.
Yeah. You're right to the very beginning. Now you have an ACT therapist. Okay.
I feel not good about myself recently, and it really disturbed me a lot. It really disturbed my concentration. I could not focus on my daily lives and my work. I kind of like overthink about some negative thought that I am not capable, that I am not lovable, and that make me feel very depressed sometimes, that I want to isolate myself from others. Sometimes I feel quite nervous when I have to do something, especially to interact with other people and also doing a kind of a project together. This really disturbs me, and I feel that I am not quite productive in the recent days.
Mm-hmm. And so what have you been doing about all this?
I kind of don't know. I just withdraw myself from others, and I kind of like taking my own time. But it really made me feel worse that I start to overthink about this over and over and over and over again.
Yeah. I get it. So you have these feelings, they're really interfering with your life, and you've been trying to do things to make it go away, but you're actually just getting worse.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
That's why I come to see you.
Well, I think you have it exactly right. I think everything is exactly as it should be.
Really? But I don't want to feel that way.
I agree. That's probably not the way you want to feel.
Yeah, because this make me feel like worse from time to time.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, and I don't know. I feel that I want to quit.
I agree. That's a very logical thing to think.
I may want to resign from my job.
Totally reasonable.
And I may not want to continue doing anything else. I would just withdraw myself from others. That's how I feel now.
I think that's a really, everything you're describing sounds exactly what is happening is exactly what's happening. And everything that you're describing is exactly as it should be.
So you think, is it okay for me to do this?
What do you think?
I don't know.
Give me your best guess.
I am feeling stuck.
I agree 100%. You are stuck. Everything that you've been doing to make your problem go away has been making your problem worse. Isn't that interesting?
It is.
I know.
Quite interesting.
Why are you doing that?
I don't know. I'm stuck. That's why I don't know why I am doing this.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that it's interesting that you're coming up with solutions to your problem that are making your problem worse.
That is so true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is so true. I
So-
feel that what I am doing now making my situation worse.
Yeah, and you know the crazy thing about that? That's exactly what most people do.
Yeah, probably you are right. Yeah, probably you are right because it happened to me.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I think probably if I continue to do this, it gonna make me feel more bad about myself.
I agree.
So what should I do?
Not that.
I'm really stuck, you know.
So, I'm not going to give him solutions. I'm not going to tell him any. He said everything right. He said everything exactly the way we would predict from ACT, which is, I have this bad thoughts and feelings about myself. I've been trying to get rid of them. I have been unsuccessful in getting rid of them. And in fact, my solutions to fixing my problem is making my life worse. That is exactly what we would predict from an acceptance and commitment therapy model. That's 100% what's going on. If you can't control your thoughts and feelings for 5 minutes with your life on the line, he's telling me I've been trying to control my thoughts and feelings over and over again, and I keep failing. I'm like, of course you are. Of course you're failing. You can't do anything but fail. And he's saying, and my solutions are even making it worse. I'm like, of course they are. You keep on using you keep trying to fly. And every day you're not flying, and then you think you're broken. So everything makes sense to me. But he's still coming from the idea that I have some secret that's going to help him learn to ultimately control his thoughts and feelings. And I do not have a secret. I agree with him 100% that he cannot control his thoughts and feelings. So I say, everything sounds right. Now he would do, clients always do this. They say, well, what am I supposed to do? And all we do is we want them to be thinking, to say, well, stop doing that. Don't do that anymore. And then we might use a metaphor. We say, imagine if you went to a doctor and the doctor gave you a pill for a sore throat, and you take the pill every day and your throat never gets better. And then you go back to the doctor and he gives you more of the same medicine, and you take the medicine and you still have a sore throat. Would you keep going to that doctor? No. They say, you're doing the same thing. You're going to your mind for a solution to the problem. It's giving you a pill that's making the problem worse. You got to stop going to that doctor. Your mind is giving you bad advice. And they'll say, well, is there another doctor? I said, well, don't know, but just don't go to that doctor anymore. So again, we're trying to avoid control. We're trying to say, stop trying to control. And I want him to sort of think creatively about this problem and get away from control strategies.
Should I translate it?
Yeah, okay.
ចឹងមិញហ្នឹងគាត់ចាប់ផ្ដើមធ្វើអាក់ម្ដងដោយបងគៀគាត់បាននិយាយថាគាត់ failure ហើយគាត់ព្យាយាមធ្វើអស់ហើយគាត់ធ្វើនេះគាត់ធ្វើនោះគាត់ខំកែហើយធ្វើឲ្យគាត់ពិបាកទៅគាត់ធ្វើការលែងកើតបន្ទាប់មកគាត់សួរថាខ្ញុំអាចកែអាហ្នឹងបានអត់សួរទៅលោកគ្រូហើយលោកគ្រូនិយាយថាអាហ្នឹងត្រូវសាច់រឿងតាអាហ្នឹងវាត្រូវតែអញ្ចឹងតាហើយគាត់សួរថាប៉ុន្តែខ្ញុំលែងធ្វើការហ្នឹងឯងអាហ្នឹងវាត្រូវសាច់រឿងអញ្ចឹងណាបើបងឯងអត់សុបាយចិត្តមួយខ្លួនឯងបើបងឯងនៅតែព្យាយាមកិច្ចពីអាហ្នឹងទៀតបងឯងលែងបងឯងបាត់ការងារធ្វើត្រូវហើយរឿងហ្នឹងត្រូវតែសាច់រឿងអញ្ចឹងណាតែបងគេថាហើយចង់ឲ្យខ្ញុំធ្វើម៉េចហើយគាត់ថាឈប់ធ្វើអាហ្នឹងទៅចាចប់ហើយចឹងគាត់លើកឧទាហរណ៍ពាក់ព័ន្ធជាមួយគ្រូពេទ្យបើយើងម្នាក់នាំគ្នាឈឺកយើងទៅរកគ្រូពេទ្យដើម្បីបានថ្នាំលេបយើងទៅគ្រូពេទ្យហ្នឹងគាត់ឲ្យថ្នាំមកគ្រាប់មកលេបដល់ពេលយើងលេបទៅយើងឈឺកលើសដើមឬក៏យើងឈឺកដដែលហើយយើងទៅរកគាត់ម្ដងទៀតគាត់ឲ្យថ្នាំដដែលមកយើងតែកំណត់យើងគិតថាម៉េចទៅរកគ្រូពេទ្យហ្នឹងទៀតឬក៏ដូរគ្រូពេទ្យប្រកាសយើងគិតថាអុយគ្រូពេទ្យអត់ជួយចឹងខ្ញុំដូរគ្រូពេទ្យចឹងអាការគិតដែលគាត់ព្យាយាមទៅរកគ្រូពេទ្យដដែលឬក៏គាត់ព្យាយាមដោះស្រាយបញ្ហាឬក៏គ្រប់គ្រងអាកំណត់គាត់ហ្នឹងអាហ្នឹងអត់ជួយគាត់ទេ
The fun thing is here, we'll come to this in a minute. In this very first session with the client, we really want them to become hopeless. And I know in most of your psychotherapy say, no, hopeless is bad. But we mean a certain kind of hopeless. We mean stop trying to control thoughts and feelings. I want you to be hopeless about that. It's called creative hopeless. And what's interesting is when you tell clients, it seems to me your efforts at controlling your thoughts and feelings have failed. And that's really normal because you can't control your thoughts and feelings. I want you to give up on that. I want you to just give up on that. most clients feel such relief. You think that they're going to feel upset, like, what do you mean? They feel relief because they said, my God, I've been trying to get rid of this thing for 10 years, and now somebody's telling me that it's okay that I can't get rid of it. They've been using that evidence of not being able to control their thoughts as evidence that they're really messed up, that they're really broken. And you're saying, no, you're not able to control your thoughts and feelings is normal, and your failures at controlling your thoughts and feelings is normal. And so clients like, whoa, that's like, wow, I never thought of it that way. They feel relief. They feel like I'm free from this battle. And then CBT kind of you're battling and act no more battle.
ចឹងចំពោះអាចវិញគាត់និយាយប្រាប់ថាពេលខ្លះជួបមួយ client អាចជួបទៅមានអារម្មណ៍ថាអស់សង្ឃឹមមកលេងពាក់ព័ន្ធមួយអាការព្យាយាមប្រឆាំងជាមួយអារម្មណ៍ហ្នឹងប៉ុន្តែចំពោះ client ផ្សេងវិញពេលដែលគាត់ឮដំណឹងថាអាហ្នឹងអ្វីដែលយើងធ្វើហ្នឹងគឺជារឿងធម្មតាទេអត់មានណាគេគ្រប់គ្រងអារម្មណ៍ជាមួយកំណត់បានទេអ្នកជំងឺខ្លះឬក៏ client ខ្លះគាត់មានអារម្មណ៍ថាគាត់ធូរចិត្តទៅវិញព្រោះគាត់ខំព្យាយាមគិតថាខ្ញុំត្រូវតែព្យាយាមគ្រប់គ្រងអារម្មណ៍ខ្ញុំត្រូវតែហាមការគិតខ្ញុំត្រូវធ្វើអញ្ចេះធ្វើអញ្ចប់ប៉ុន្តែដល់ពេលគាត់ឮពីtherapist ថាអាហ្នឹងវាអត់ប្រយោជន៍ទេយើងអត់ត្រូវការ control វាទេ control វាអត់បានទេយើងឈប់ទៅពួកគាត់មានអារម្មណ៍ថាធូរចិត្តវិញថាគាត់លែងទៅប្រឆាំងជាមួយកំណត់គាត់ទៀតហើយ
Yeah. So the thing is CBT, I'm not going to say CBT is bad. CBT works. CBT is an effective therapy. So it's not a bad therapy at all. And it has good effects for many, many things. Works for a lot of different things. So why do we even have a wave 3? If wave 2 works good, why go to wave 3? Well, the problem is that the cognitive part of CBT doesn't really work. The arguing doesn't really work. So they've done studies on this. They do, let's say, exposure therapy with CBT, meaning like, why are you nervous? Why are you blah, blah, blah. So doing the cognitive part and then exposure therapy, and then they do exposure therapy without the C, same. So the C part of CBT doesn't really work. The B part of CBT works. So people began to see that the cognitive part of CBT wasn't that effective. In depression research, in anxiety research, in eating disorder research, and in trauma, the cognitive interventions really don't seem to have strong effects. So that's one problem. And then the other is it's really not tied to cognitive science. You know, there's these cognitive researchers out there in neuroscience that know a lot about how the mind works. And CBT doesn't really connect with cognitive science very well. And so there's some problems with the ideas in CBT.
ចឹងគាត់បានបញ្យល់ថាគេថា CBT ហ្នឹង work ហើយប៉ុន្តែគេចាប់អារម្មណ៍ថាអាខាងC ជាមួយ B C អត់ work ទេដោយសារតែមានការសិក្សាបានធ្វើពីលើការលើ client ថាដំបូងគាត់ធ្វើអ្នកជំងឺclient មួយចំនួនធ្វើ C ហើយធ្វើ B ហើយមួយទៀតធ្វើតែ B ឯងគេឃើញថា effective ដូចគ្នាអញ្ចឹង C ហ្នឹងវាអត់ប្រយោជន៍ហើយមួយទៀតទៅលើ base ទៅលើ cognitive science គេថាខួរក្បាលយើងមិនមែនអញ្ចឹងទេ
So CBT had a big effect on psychotherapy, and these are some of the unhelpful parts of it. You need to think right and feel right to act right. So you'll hear this a lot in movies, you hear it a lot in therapy, which is, if I can develop confidence, then I can act confident. If I have self-efficacy, then I can be effective. So they're putting thoughts and feelings before action. If I think right, then I can act right. But remember, you can't control your thoughts. You can't control your feelings. So you're putting the driver of your life, things that can't be controlled. That's not going to work for you. So that's a problem. Another one is suffering is bad and should be eliminated. Happiness is good and should be pursued. Well, you can't control your thoughts and feelings. You can't make yourself happy. You can't make yourself, so we don't have control. And then the last would be, you know, we just don't have these thoughts and feelings that can control, these ideas that can control our thoughts and feelings. So this is a problem that you have to help clients get over and move them towards another way of thinking.
ចឹងបើគាត់និយាយពាក់ព័ន្ធជាមួយ evidence គេដែរបង្ហាញ
Oops, sorry.
គាត់បានបង្ហាញប្រាប់ថាយើងតែងតែលើពី CBT ថាយើងត្រូវតែគិតត្រូវមានអារម្មណ៍ត្រូវធ្វើត្រូវប៉ុន្តែបើយើងមើលមុនហ្នឹងអាគិតជាមួយអាធ្វើហ្នឹងវាអត់ស៊ីគ្នាទេពេលខ្លះយើងធ្វើត្រូវយើងបាច់គិតត្រូវក៏បានដែរហើយគេប្រាប់ថាអាការឈឺចាប់អាការគិតអាក្រក់ហ្នឹងវាត្រូវតែបំបត្តិចោលឲ្យអស់ភាពឈឺចាប់អត់ត្រូវតែមានទេហើយចាំបើថាយើងមាន good skill យើងចាប់ដើម develop skill យើងនឹងអាចគ្រប់គ្រងអារម្មណ៍អាចគ្រប់គ្រងគំនិតបានអាហ្នឹងជាចំណុចខុសទាំងអស់
Good. So we already kind of showed you the lie detection thing. And then these are the 3-wave threes. So all the 3-wave threes have something in common. Acceptance and commitment therapy, dialectical and functionality, they all are based on the idea of mindfulness. They're all connected to mindfulness in Buddhism, I think. And this comes from the idea that rather than trying to control thoughts and feelings, you be better to allow thoughts and feelings to be present without strategies to control. And if you do that, maybe things will work out better for you. The second thing would be suffering happens. That's like in Buddhism, that's the Noble Truth 1. Life is suffering. Noble Truth 2 in Buddhism is suffering arises from grasping, from holding on. Number 3 is to alleviate suffering, let go. And number 3 is to let go of self. So the ideas in Buddhism are like built into dialectical behavior therapy and acceptance and commitment therapy, which is mindfulness, accepting that suffering happens, letting go of control will move you towards a better life. So that's interesting. So we're going to I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to pass out my cards for you and we're going to do introductions, okay? So this is our new introductions. I introduced you a minute ago. I'm Dr. O'Brien, blah, 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 Dr. O'Brien. But now I'm going to pass out cards and I'm going to break some rules, okay? And I'm going to ask you to break some rules. Do you want to try? I don't know if you want to try. Is that
enough? គាត់តែបញ្ជាក់ថា wave 3 ហ្នឹងពាក់ព័ន្ធជាមួយពុទ្ធសាសនាច្រើនដែលយើងដឹងហើយថាទី1គឺ life is suffering មានរោគមានទុក្ខណាតមកទី2ពាក់ព័ន្ធជាមួយចំណងហើយចំណងដែលធ្វើឲ្យយើងមាន suffering ទី3គឺ letting go អញ្ចឹងបលែង
So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce myself again, but I give you a different kind of introduction. And the card thing is this other part I'm going to break a rule. So I'm giving you my cards because I'm going to make a promise to you. And I'm really, 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 really mean this promise. You have this card and I promise you from now until the day I die, if you contact me with email or you contact me with phone, I guess, I will help you in whatever pursuit you have for therapy or if you want questions answered or you have a need met. I promise you that I will respond to you and help you as best I can for the rest of my life. I make this promise to you. Yes, right, yeah. And if you end up in jail, I'll try to help you get out of jail, if that comes up. So that broke a little rule, right? Most time you get a talk, but I really, really mean this. So now the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce myself and I'm going to ask you to introduce yourselves to everyone too. And you have a choice to make. You can do it one way or the other. You can say, hello, my name is whoever you are, and I am blank. So one level, you can follow the rules and you can say, I'm going to let people know what my name is and what my job is. That's cool. Or you can decide to introduce us to your passengers, one of your passengers. And in ACT, we use the word passenger to describe negative thoughts. The metaphor goes like this. You're born, you're driving your bus, you're the bus, you're driving through life. There's my passenger. And maybe, I don't know, in 3rd grade, some kid comes up to you and says, you're stupid. Stupid gets on the bus. Stupid's on my bus now. And for whatever reason, I now have stupid on my bus. And it's going to stay with me till the day I die. It just happens. And the thing with the human mind is passengers get on the bus And some passengers don't get off the bus. And we can't get them off the bus. They're like, I'm not stupid.
You're stupid.
I'm not stupid.
You're stupid.
I'm not stupid. Get off the bus.
No, you're stupid.
Get off the bus. So we have passengers, and you all have passengers. When I said you're perfect, your passenger showed up and said, oh, you're not. My passenger says, I'm unlovable. My passenger says, I'm stupid. My passenger says, your zipper's open, you better check it. My passenger says many things that are unhelpful. We have good passengers too, but the ones we don't like are the ones that get us into trouble. So what we can do is, if you like, you can say, hello, my name is whoever you are. I am a worker. Or you can say, I am unlovable. My passenger is ugly. My passenger is boring. My passenger is weird. I don't know what your passengers are. But perhaps, if you want, you can introduce yourself and your lifelong companion. I strongly believe this to be true, that we talked to this the other day. If I die from cancer or something, if I have like a slow death, I'm slowly dying, my passengers are so much a part of me that I think my very last thought on earth is going to be a passenger. It's going to look like this. I'll be laying there, oh, I'm about to die. And I'll see my children there maybe. And I'll think, oh, you guys shouldn't have driven so far. Or I'm going to say like, I hope I didn't inconvenience you. My last thought will be how I'm a burden to them. That's probably going to happen. It's such a part of me, I don't need to be upset with it. It's just a part of me. That's how much it's going to be present in my life. So our passengers are our companions. They just follow us around. The goal and act is to allow the passengers to be there. And later on, when we do techniques, to learn to love them. To learn that it's a cool thing to have passengers. You don't need to get rid of them. You can have them, love them, experience them, recognize them, but not fight them. Okay? Sound okay?
I think I need to explain.
Yes, you can.
ចឹងគាត់នឹងធ្វើ exercise មកឲ្យយើងនឹងណែនាំខ្លួនឯងយ៉ាងអាចណែនាំឈ្មោះខ្លួនឯងហើយមួយទៀតគាត់លើកទឹកចិត្តឲ្យណែនាំ passenger ហ្នឹងគឺជាពាក្យដែលដាក់ឯតាមពិត passenger ហ្នឹងបើយើងនិយាយពីគាត់លើកឧទាហរណ៍ហ្នឹង passenger គឺជាកំណត់អក្រក់ពីខ្លួនឯងហ្នឹងហើយបើយើងសម័យថាខ្លួនយើងជាអ្នកបើកឡានឬក៏ពូតកុងឡានបើកឡានក្រុងខ្លួនយើងកំពុងបើកឡានហើយអា passenger ហ្នឹងអ្នកជិះឡានជាមួយយើងហើយអា passenger ហ្នឹងគឺជាកំណត់អក្រក់ដែលយើងមានហ្នឹងហើយអញ្ចឹងបើគាត់លើកឧទាហរណ៍មុនហ្នឹងថាការអាយុប្រហែល 4-5 ឆ្នាំមានគេថាគាត់អក្រក់មើលឬក៏គាត់ល្ងងឬក៏អីចឹងទៅអាពាក្យសម្ដីហ្នឹងគឺជា passenger ទី1ដែលចូលខ្លួនយើងហើយវាឡើងមកលើឡានយើងឡានហ្នឹងគឺជីវិតយើងហ្នឹងហើយវានឹងនៅហ្នឹងពេលខ្លះអា passenger ហ្នឹងកំណត់ហ្នឹងវាអត់ទៅណាវានៅក្នុងឡានហ្នឹងមួយជីវិតរបស់យើងហើយគាត់បាននិយាយថាចេះគាត់ធ្លាប់សម័យថាបើឧទាហរណ៍តែគាត់នៅឆ្លោះជាមួយ passenger ហ្នឹងថ្ងៃដែលគាត់ចិត្តស្លាប់ទៅគាត់ខ្លាចតែ passenger ហ្នឹងអ្នកចេញមកឯងមានន័យថាគាត់មានកំណត់អក្រក់ថាគាត់អត់មានតម្លៃទេអញ្ចឹងបើគាត់ចិត្តស្លាប់ទៅគាត់និយាយថាមកធ្វើអីអាលវិបង្ហាញកំណត់បង្ហាញ passenger ហ្នឹងមកអញ្ចឹងអ្វីដែលគាត់ចង់ឲ្យយើងធ្វើឥឡូវហ្នឹងបើអាចទេបើមានអារម្មណ៍ថាខ្លួនឯងអាចបង្ហាញបានប្រាប់ពីឈ្មោះយើងហើយនិយាយពី passenger យើង
So we'll do the introduction. So I want to have everyone do it.